Hey guys, Dave here, Journey to the Outdoors. Today I'm going to show you guys how to put in a differential. This is pretty much an update on the truck that I have going, the '89 Chevy R2500. It's got a it's a three-quarter ton truck and it has a 410 diff in it. And last year I got stuck in the mud there, and yeah, just kind of didn't have four-wheel drive, so kind of running the back end, a little bit hot. So I pretty much threw out the locker in it, the LSD. So had to go ahead and change that out. The diff went out in it. So now I'm going to go ahead and put in a open differential, and at a later time I'm going to go ahead and get a Detroit locker. But I'll show you guys a video of that at a later time. I'm going to go ahead and install that. But it kind of worked out good, because the differential I had in there, the corporate 14 bolt locker, it only had like a three pin yoke in it, and the open differential has a 4 pin yoke in it, so it's able to be converted over into a Detroit locker. So I ended up having to get the differential, got it for a real good price. It was real inexpensive, so kind of couldn't pass it up, compared to buying a new locker. So here it is. No further gonna burn you guys, ear up. Detroit, and well, this is just an open diff, and got new bearings on it, and I got new races for it to go on them. So yeah, it's gonna have some, very little friction on it, and it's a 12 volt open diff that's in there, and I'll show you guys a picture of the old diff that was in there. And amazingly, the ring and pinion was great. Okay, it's in great condition, not a chip on it, and so it's working pretty good for me. So I think I'll still have no issues at the boat dock. So I'm not gonna spend too much more time. I'm gonna go ahead and get this diff in, and I'll get back to you guys here in a second. Once about to get everything bolted up. All right, stay tuned. All right, so here we have the inside of the diff, and this is the cover removed. One thing is, I want to make sure I tell you guys first is make sure you have your vehicle secure, have it on chucks, wheel chucks, and behind the tires, because if you have just a rear wheel drive and you have the carrier out, which I'm replacing, there is nothing to hold the back wheels in place. If you're talking about like a full floater, or maybe even a semi floater. I don't have a semi floater, I have a full floater, so I know for a fact for full floaters that the wheels are free to move. So make sure you have wheel chucks behind them. Make sure the vehicle is secure, emergency brakes on. Okay, so now that's out of the way, you want to make sure that you have your gasket cleaned off, the old gasket cleaned off. I haven't done that just yet, but I've done it on the cover, so that's all ready to go. Your bearing preloaders, you want to make sure when you put those in, when you put your carrier in, that you tighten those to the spec that's to your vehicle setting. So therefore, you can see the pinion back in there. There is not a chip on that. You can see the glare off of that, real nice and clean. Everything's good on that. The bearings are good. I can see them. So what I've done so far is I've just taken my races, and I put a little bit of lube on those, and made sure, because they're brand new, I made sure I put grease on them, and then put a little grease inside of the races. So once I put them on, I put grease inside the bearings, and they're ready to go. So they won't get any burn from being in there for a couple of seconds without any oil. So once I fill the oil, it'll get in there, but it won't really truly get down in the bearings until you get the tires to moving and going and everything with that. So okay, I'm gonna go ahead and install this in here, and get back to you guys. All right, just hold on 1 second. All right, at this point, what I've done was I lifted up the carrier and put my races on the side. And but right before that, I backed up backed up the bearing preloaders, which is right here. They have holes in them. You can kind of see it right between where my finger is. They have holes in them that you can use like a spanner wrench to spin them around, but they recede into the axle and come back in to apply pressure to the bearing races to keep the to adjust the backlash, which that's what you call the backlash. The space that is in between each little spleen on the pinion ring and the pinion the pinion gear and the ring gear. The amount of space that is allowed to move is called the backlash. So therefore, by adjusting the preloads, you can see it better right there. By adjusting the preloads on the on the bearings on each side, you can adjust it from side to side to adjust the backlash. So right now, I've just kind of loosely put the carrier retainers on, like the journals. I can't remember what to call them, but I've loosely installed just one bolt just to keep it in there, but not put load on the bearings. Therefore, I can adjust the preload, and I'm going to do that now. So you just kind of move it from side to side. As you can see right now, I can move it from side to side, but once I adjust it, I won't be able to. Okay, hold on. I'll be right back. All right. So now I've installed my bolts for my carrier journals, and right now I've already adjusted the backlash. As you seen before, it was moving a lot, and now this is how it is. You can hear it, but you can't even see it move, just barely. I mean, it looks like it's just barely moving. So that's an adjustment, and I know I tested it out to make sure I knew what the backlash was before I moved it out, so I know how much it should be moving. You technically are supposed to use a dial, and it's a dial that will sit between one of the spleens, two of the spleens on the gear, on the ring gear, and then it would actually tell you exactly how much it needs to be moving. And I think it's between 2 to 5 thousandths of an inch. That is how much it's supposed to be moving. 2 to 5 thousandths, or I think it's 3 to 5 thousandths of an inch. So therefore, that's what the backlash is supposed to be, so you don't tear up your ring and pinion, and also you're supposed to get a reading of how the ring and pinion are meshing together on the teeth, so that you have proper wear on your ring and pinion. So at this point, I've already adjusted my backlash on both sides, tightened them down, and then there is a little pin that goes in there. This one has like a little bent pin. It's a little piece of steel, and it just sits down in there. And then there's a screw that goes down between there to hold the pin in place. And what that does is actually locks in your bearing preloaders. It locks in the settings so it doesn't spin and adjust your your preload on your bearings. So I'm just kind of doing this with one hand here, um, and there you have it. Little pin that goes in between the little holes on the preloader to actually hold it in this pin just holds it in place so it doesn't spin around and let out your preload, which moves your backlash, which can just tear up your whole rear end and have you doing this part all over again. So okay, so far this is pretty much it. I've got the other side in, tightened it up. That's pretty much it on how you install the 14 bolt 410 carrier, and it's for 410 ratio, 12 bolt carrier, corporate. So it's a whole mess of how that goes. But all right, I'm gonna go ahead and stop here, and I'll get this cover on, and get it loaded up with fluid. So, okay. Make sure that you have all of your shavings off of that, and on this magnet on the bottom, and make sure you torque all of your bolts to the specs that are required in your book. That will let you know that everything is tightened and you won't have an accident, because if this for any given reason gives out doing while you're driving, you will have some major issues, to say the least. So there you go. Okay, I'm going to get this cover on, get this gasket cleaned up. One of the things that I use is just a scraper. You can get them pretty much anywhere, dollar store. They work pretty good for the use. For the use, and or also you can use a razor blade scraper, which is just the same, but it works a little bit better. It gets the it cuts that gasket right off. Let's see if I can get it cut here. It cuts that gasket right off. So it'll just cut it right off. But make sure that you have all the anything. If you get anything inside of this casing, make sure that you get it cleaned out, because you don't want that in your oil. All right. All right. So now, and now this is where you put it in your bolts. I got my plate on, got my new gasket in there, and I just used one of the I think it's not a foam gasket, it's not a cork gasket either, and they have it preformed. It's about $4, AutoZone, and you put in your nuts in the. Alright, so now I've got my new gasket in there, got my cover on, and I put the bolts in there. And what you want to do is, once you start to torque these down, you want to make sure that you go from the opposite sides, 12 o'clock and 6 o'clock, and then work yourself away around, going in clockwise motion. So I would do the bottom, then the top, then the second to the left, then the second to the left on the top, third to the left, and then third to the left on the top, and go around, and until you meet the 6 and the 3 and 9, and you should pretty much have a even torqued plate. That way you won't have any leaks in your seal. So there you go. I'm gonna fill it with fluid, and she should be good to go. All right, check you guys later. Journey the Outdoors out.